This is exactly what annoys me about the Gilmore Girls.
What, that they just speak
They're
to
not
each other?
listening to each other. They just talk,
Yeah.
and it drives me crazy. And I know people love that. And please, if you're a fan of the Gilmore Girls, don't unsubscribe from the podcast. I won't bring it up again.
The Signal. You are listening to The Signal.
The Signal.
Cutting through the noise.
You are listening to The Signal.
This is not a whinge fest. We're going to talk about solutions, not just a problem. So if we identify a problem, then we have to couple it with talking about a solution or someone who's found a solution.
Stop whinging bat signal.
Yes, you're not going to do that anymore. There's plenty, if people want that, there's plenty of places that they can get that. We're going to be talking to industry insiders, observers, those who are kind of in it, those who are outside of it, looking in, people with interesting things to say, but no one gets to come on the show and talk about something and be unchallenged.
Where are they? Where is this going?
This is streaming in Chile, and it's competing directly with broadcasters now.
On YouTube?
I think it's on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
On YouTube. And I think on other platforms. They definitely fluctuate between the platforms depending on what parts of that show. But it's like, it's some of them are 5 hours. Emilio at What If, I think it's 2 hours. But
5 hours?
5 hours of broadcast.
Wow.
And
that's stamina.
It's stamina, but live streaming is the thing that gives their content trust. So it can't be edited. It's produced as a live stream. It's recorded as a live stream. It's advertised that it's recorded as a live stream. People don't watch it live necessarily, but they may watch it back and they may see the live comments that were happening in real time. But it's so important that it's live. And I don't think that's what the news industry is doing. Like, look, news channels have gone away. But here you go. Here you have new startups directly competing with TV by going live. And one of the things that they do is it's intentionally got this format so that if a young person is looking at this on their tablet or phone, their parents can kind of recognize what they're watching, that they can, because it's got a ticker.
It's newsy.
It looks like news. Yeah. It gives that credibility. And I think that's how they're getting new audiences as well. So rather than ripping up the rule book, they are replicating the rule book. And we talked about innovation before. The innovation in this case is going back to the basics, is trying a tested format and using it.
In a new way, in a new moment. How do they make money?
YouTube ads is how they make money.
Because a really significant number of people.
They're reaching a significant amount of people. YouTube ads is how they make money. And they are also packaging up their clips almost instantly. So they're distributing it on multiple platforms. One of them said that basically YouTube is like the new CMS for them. So they look at all of these tools and they are using them in a way that builds a business, makes business sense, is their way of creating and distributing content, and they are using multiple platforms. So it's not just a one platform policy. Emilio was using, like, he was explaining how he will be talking like we are now, asks a question, as soon as he's off mic, he's writing to the team, clip that up.
The power of the clip.
The power of the clip.
Yeah. TikTok thought that I don't know who it thinks I am, but it was feeding me a very steady stream of AI-generated content that was fruit people in cartoon form, but semi-lifelike.
Yeah.
Speaking in Kurdish.
Yeah, you said to our colleague, I've got a video about a Kurdish apple doctor. And he was like, I've been to the Kurdish areas, but I didn't know about these apple doctors. And you were like, no, it's literally an apple that is a doctor talking Kurdish.
What we hear from our audience is that they really don't like the AI slop, especially in video form. So they are grateful and excited.
That's the worst slop.
Yeah, they want authenticity and they want trust, and AI slop can't give them that. So, it's very important for us to be authentic, for Dave to be authentic, for us to build that trust with the audience.
So are you advocating for human out of the loop?
No, I'm not. I'm saying, but I think I would like to reframe it, and I think what we're actually talking about is humanity in the loop. So what is the human side of journalism, the human side of storytelling, that is very different to someone checking a machine's work. We should do that. And let's just say, yes, for the foreseeable future, we have to have a human checking most of the output. And if we're going to lose that human in the process, we need to be really sure that there's no mistakes. But moving forward, let's talk more about humanity in the loop, because that's what keeps the essence of the organization, of the journalism. It's how you get a human story.
Interesting. My frustration with human in the loop is that it's become a kind of buzzword that does a lot of heavy lifting and kind of outsources a lot of thinking about like, what do you mean? Who is the human? What's the loop? Is the human, as you say, is the human checking a machine's work? Is a human being informed about a machine's work? Does a human veto a machine's work? Once you sort of start to peel back that first layer of human in the loop, there's a lot more questions that need to be answered. But I quite like this framing of humanity in the loop, especially as we see kind of more and more pure AI plays.
So we applied this to the first agent we created at USA Today Co. And what we applied it to was public records request assistance. So our newsrooms voted and named it Digger. Digger, the goal that we initially gave it is help journalists file public records requests or FOIA, right? We have state and federal, 50 states and federal level. We only had 75% early accuracy on...
And what does it mean to mess up?
So what it meant was it would make up email addresses. So you want to send your public records request to the right, and it would do it for you autonomously after you check it, right? It would make up that email address sometimes. Secondly, it would, like, that's called a hallucination, right? Mm-hmm. When it makes something up. And that wasn't acceptable. We also needed it to pull in the right state law that we had grounded it on. And it was occasionally messing that up. So we were testing it with newsrooms, but we couldn't quite get the scale we needed to get all these bugs out. So what changed, we built this all in Copilot Studio through Microsoft Suite. And through that, we were able to get to upper 90% accuracy, no hallucination, something that our journalists did not have time to do the amount of testing we needed manually. We were able to do in minutes, and then have the journalists that worked with us, right, review those edge cases and the total work of, like, is this right? And so that was, we moved from working for months to get to production. We were able to push to production. Mm-hmm. And then we started getting more feature requests from journalists. I don't want to just file one. I want to file bulk. We were able to ship that within like a couple days. Wow. And before, we had been on months and months of timelines.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous because...
Fergus coming in hot today.
I'm coming in hot. I'm a bit nervous because we're going to be breaking down this speech with kind of our insights or thoughts about it. But we're going to say stuff that people are not going to be very happy with.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe we can justify what we're saying, but I imagine people are going to come up to me and be like, I disagree with what you were saying. Why did you say that?
The consistency of the position, right?
It's the consistency.
Like we can't argue that on the one hand, we're not being valued under fair use while simultaneously making our money out of other people's stories or us, and I think in our case, other people's content, right? It's like other people have filmed that, other people are reporting that they're there, and we're using that for our product.
Yeah, and that frankly is just not right. There's another thing that happens in the industry that makes me think about double standards again, and that is kind of uppicks or pickups of other people's stories. So that is if someone has an exclusive story They report it in their publication or on their TV station, and then other organizations who don't have that story report the story and give a minor citation to the original.
Hopefully. Sometimes they don't.
And they are taking original reporting, original journalism, repackaging it, and not fairly compensating either the people that created that or the people that spent the money on producing it. And that is another double standard. Now, again, you can make that argument, but you then can't make the argument that other people are doing that to you and it's not fair.
So your position is, if we're going to make this case of strip mining, then we need to make sure that we're not also out there with picks and shovels mining.
I'm saying that we have to get, that the news industry has to get its house in order, and it has to be, cleaner than clean in how it does it. You can't make an argument and have a double standard, like plainly out there. Focus on original reporting. Yes.
Clear.
That is a clear value proposition, and it's really hard for someone to argue fair use over distinctive original reporting, doing the thing that your organization can do best that no technology can replicate at the moment.
And maybe if you're using AI the right way, you might have more resources to do that.
Yeah. Explain why journalism matters. Yeah, that's obvious, but difficult to make. I mean, I would add my fifth one, which is explain our standards and explain as an industry why we hold those standards and that we don't maintain any double standards in the way that we operate. I think that is essential for building trust and is an honest transaction with audiences. Just it reminds me of this kind of sledgehammer thing, which is where you go onto your AI tool of choice, and people will often always pick the most advanced model to do their create me a meal plan for this week, whereas actually that most advanced model can actually hack government systems. That you don't need to use the sledgehammer model.
Yeah, you don't need to drive a Formula One car to go and pick up the milk.
Yeah.
Not only is it going to be more expensive, but actually it's probably going to be slower and a bit more cumbersome because you're not going to be able to park. But there are various analogies that people use for things like this: sledgehammer, Formula One car. Is it going to be Star Trek?
It's not going to be Star Trek.
Thank goodness.
But it is going to be. We're going to start with Marvel. Spider-Man is a photographer at the Daily Bugle, and the whole story of Spider-Man is really around him and having this role. With newspapers not really being as widely circulated as they were, it's fair to say they're dying. Newspapers are dying. Where does that cultural reference for Spider-Man live if newspapers vanish? Clark Kent is a reporter for the Daily Planet in Metropolis. He falls in love with Lois Lane, who's the star reporter. Those are cultural references that are so important, yet we are so close to a world in which someone can watch or read or listen to a Superman story and not understand what that reference is to
What's a newspaper?
What's a newspaper?
Yeah.
Think about Harry Potter. So much of the plotline in Harry Potter is based on what is reported in the Daily Prophet, the Wizarding World newspaper. And so we rely on this thread of news and newspapers and journalism existing. It's used for multiple plot points in multiple stories. You talk about it in kind of daily, what's the just give me the headline. I mean, I think it upsets me a little bit that people won't be able to discover news, because news has played such an important role in my life and career, and you grow up seeing journalists that you respect and want to emulate, or the types of stories that they're covering that you want to cover. If I wasn't sitting behind a desk, I wanted to be a foreign reporter, as did a lot of people. A lot of people wanted to be war correspondents because they saw war correspondents. would be really surprised if people knew what a war correspondent was now or could name one. So I think you have to be able to see people in these roles in order to aspire to them. And I think that's similar to lots of roles. Like you have to be able to, you can't imagine what a doctor does unless you've been in contact with a doctor, or you can't imagine what a scientist's role might be unless you have exposure to them talking about their job. Journalism has had a huge amount of exposure previously because people could turn on the TV or open a newspaper or see it on a newsstand or open a social media feed. And while it's been declining, people have still been able to see it or come across it.
I really like the power of the visual to make people want to have a particular way of living. And what I mean by that is if you see somebody doing something that looks aspirational and it's also sustainable, if I see people doing something aspirational through an image that is also climate responsible, that makes me think, I want to live like that. I want to be that person in that apartment with that cool stuff, living that way. And I think you can't tell people to live differently. You've got to inspire them to live differently. And I'm seeing more of that thinking coming through the media. Not enough, but when I see it, I recognize it. And that's one of the things that we try and encourage media to do when we deal with them, is to try and sell a dream, sell a lifestyle, not just tell people off or tell people how to live. Make them want it, really make them want it.